Good evening, Winding Creek families. This is Mrs. Wardlow, Principal of Winding Creek. Welcome to our first virtual town hall. I'm here to answer some of the questions that you submitted to me. I'm going to do the best I can in answering them. This is a new journey that we're all on, and so therefore, as we go through each day, things shift and change a little bit. So I'm going to do my best to answer some of your questions. One of the first questions has to do with scheduling. So let me just tell you a little bit about that. We have groups that are in either A or B. Students are divided into groups of either A or B. And the reason that they're divided into A or B is that we're trying to keep about 50% of our students in this school in Group A and about 50% of our students in Group B. They did it by last name. They could do that up at central office. And even by grade level. So there may be a situation where it seems like 50% of one grade level is through letter K, where another 50% of that grade level seems like it's through letter G. That was where they were trying to keep it 50% on a grade level. The reason for that is because we still are talking about seeing if we will be able to go to a hybrid model of learning after the review in September, which that hybrid model, if it's okayed, would start in October. So to be able to be prepared for that, we have to ensure that we have class sizes that allow us to maintain the social distancing in a classroom for if and when students come back face to face. So in Synergy, it is listed right now. You can look in Parent View, in Parent View, you can look right now and you can see if your student is in Group A or in Group B. Group A will have their synchronous, and synchronous learning is what we talk about, that face-to-face, live face-to-face teaching. Their synchronous learning will be on Tuesday and Wednesday, and Group B's face-to-face live synchronous learning will be on Thursday and Friday. A lot of people have asked about that live learning. How many hours is it? So let me explain a little bit to you about that. The learning day for Winding Creek will be 9 to 2. So that means starting at 9 a.m., students need to be ready and online, ready to learn with their teacher face-to-face. That will go on until 2 o'clock. Now, I do know there's a lot of concerns out there about how can an elementary student sit on a computer for 5 hours. Please know they're not going to be on a computer for 5 hours like we think about them learning at home on an app where they're constantly engaged with an app. It's going to look very similar to what you would see if you went into a classroom. So the teacher will be starting off, she'll be bringing the children together, they will be having their conversation. She will do what's called a mini lesson at the beginning, giving them that targeted instruction. And then there will be times in there where, because that class size is smaller, about 12 to 13 students virtually, because we're in an A and a B group, you have about 12 to 13 students in a Group A and about 12 to 13 students in Group B. With that number of students, she then can break off and give, while she's looking at the students in the Google Meet, she can say, students 1, 2, 3, and 4, I want you to do this activity right here that they're able to see through their Canvas while she works face-to-face with some of those other students. So it is not going to be a continual looking at the screen. It is going to be doing some work, working with the teacher, and there will be movement breaks brought in. 12 to 12:45 will be lunch and movement time for everyone in the school. 12 to 12:45. That's when the children can stop, disconnect, get some lunch, get a movement break that's away from that computer, and then they can come back and re-engage and finish out the day. They will have specials every day for 30 minutes. We have a specials rotating schedule that's going to go through with that. And we also have the day broken up into language arts, math, and social studies and science. So we do have the day scheduled, very typical to a normal face-to-face day. So when we talk about that live time, 2 days a week will be their face-to-face time. If you're Group A, that's Tuesday and Wednesday. If you're Group B, that's Thursday and Friday. So people are asking, well, what are they doing on the other days? So if Group A has their live teaching, synchronous learning on Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, they will have learning activities that they will engage in that are an extension of the live learning they did on their synchronous day. That's one of the greatest things that's happening with us in Stafford County. We have purchased and are utilizing and using a learning management system. And that learning management system is called Canvas. Our teachers, starting last week and this week, are doing a crash course and learning how to plan and input into Canvas so that children can go in and see videos there so that they can replay videos and learn. They're doing it where their assignments are uploaded into Canvas so that they can click on that and that assignment comes to them. It has got it so that they have ways of getting into a Google Meet for a live session with the teacher. So that's one of the greatest parts about a learning management system. It takes all of these little pieces and puts it together in one box, if you would say. And I've had parents that ask, how are children going to learn about Canvas? So what we're going to be doing is starting next week, at the very end of this week and beginning of next week, we have got some videos that we've made in-house. And then the county has videos that are available for families to look at. So the in-house videos are going to be kind of this simple introducing children to this is a Chromebook, which a lot of our children already know, and to how to turn the Chromebook on, but it's also helpful to our parents. And then getting them to see a very beginning page of Canvas. Then from there, we're going to have the links available that have been produced by the county that a parent can go to, and it literally gives them a step-by-step how to help their child get on Canvas. We're going to have all of that available beginning next week of August 24th so that parents can start getting onto those videos. They can start looking at Canvas. They can start doing that with their child just a little bit. So if there's any questions that you can call and ask us, and we will be glad to help you get through that navigation and get that beginning part going for them. In addition to that, the first week of school, which is August 31st, and I'll explain that one in a second, the first week of school, our teachers are going to be doing live instruction, working our children through that. One of the great pieces of Google Meet is that we can show our screens to our students. So the students will actually be able to see a Canvas page, the exact same Canvas page that they would be seeing on their screen. And our teachers will be working through all of the management and all of the navigation with the children that first week, trying to make sure that they're feeling comfortable and feeling good about it. So please know that we're recognizing the need of what needs to be here for the virtual open house, which I did have people ask about. I'll explain a little bit more about that. What we're recognizing is we need to get the device to you. So I'll stop and tell you beginning next week, and I'll be getting the schedule out. If I didn't get it out today, I'll be getting it out tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, August 24th, 25th, and 26th. We will be doing our drive-by pickup of devices and student materials, which could be workbooks that are naturally come with our resources from here at school. We've even made some copies of some handouts for you all, and we're ensuring everybody has a type of whiteboard that they will be able to use for that face-to-face synchronous learning with their teacher. And we're going to be sending that schedule out. It will be a pickup by last name, so that if you have multiple children in your family, you only have to come one time. And in that information, you'll be getting your Chromebook. You'll be getting your Chromebook. And then from there, you will have that so that you can start looking at the devices that are available, or looking at all of the information that's available for the children to be able to get on Canvas. The other thing our teachers are going to be doing is they're going to be reaching out to you at that point. They will know who their students are, and you'll know who your teachers are. They're going to be reaching out to you all, making personal contact with you, setting up some Google Meets. And at that time, you can ask them very specific questions. They can go through helping you navigate Canvas, get on Canvas for that first time prior to August 31st. It is really important for us that this to be a very successful kickoff. We know that how the last year's learning in March went, because we had taught 75% of our curriculum. We did not engage in new online live learning. We totally recognize that and have to tell you we're pretty excited about what it's going to look like this fall. And our teachers are very excited about what it's going to look like for them and for their children. Some of the other questions I've had is, how are our children going to be able to make connections and meet their friends? Well, that's the wonderful part about Google Meet. Every single morning, synchronous and asynchronous learning is going to involve a Google Meet morning meeting with their friends. So what that's going to look like is, we've always done morning meeting at the beginning of school for the last several years. That's where our children huddle up into a group, and we'll be huddling up virtually, where they come together. They learn actually how to greet each other by saying good morning, or good morning, Mrs. Wardlow. Good morning, Mrs. Oneidi. Learning how to do that reciprocal conversation. That's the time when we talk about attitude, respect, empathy. So when we talk about the zones of regulation and being able to recognize what emotional zone that we're in, and how do we regulate to always work in that green zone or get back to that green zone. So that is going to be every single morning for the first 20 to 25 minutes, when kids are going to come together. They're going to connect. They're going to be able to get to know each other. So that is really important to us. We recognize the social emotional needs of our children and of our staff. And that is the biggest part, is we have not been connected. So just know that as disconnected as you all have felt, we have been that disconnected from you all. So that is all a part of what we're going to be doing to ensure that we're coming together, not only as a classroom, but also as a school and as a community. Some other questions I had: how will attendance be taken each day? When a child logs on, that's when we start taking attendance. In addition to that, if something happens with a student and maybe they're not able to be at their asynchronous learning that day, but they log on to Canvas to do their work, Canvas also takes an attendance. So there's different ways that we'll be looking to see how students will be engaged in their learning. And when we look at it from that level, that is part of attendance, saying that a child did participate. Another question that has been asked is, what if a student misses their virtual learning, their face-to-face virtual learning? Will they be able to access that? The county is still working on that. I was just in a meeting yesterday where the county was actually talking about, how are we going to be able to possibly provide maybe recordings of the teacher's face-to-face learning, that a child who missed that learning that day could go back and access it. Since this is new territory for all of us, we're still figuring out what we don't know and trying to come up with plans to address any concerns, but also meet it in the constraints of making sure that we have safety and privacy of the learners and the people in the school. SOLs will not be taken this year. That just came out last week. We've been given another waiver for accreditation from the state. And so it will be, the accreditation will be that it's been waived for another year. So at this point, we do not have the SOLs. But there was another question about assessments. Will children be taking assessments, and how will that be monitored? Our children will be taking assessments, and it will be monitored through Google Meet. So when my children, as a teacher, if I'm with my children in front of me and I'm asking them to take an assessment, then what we're asking them to do is, my camera can see them and we can monitor each other to ensure that our children are putting forth their best effort in that assessment. So we will be giving assessments in that way. I had another person who asked a question about Zoom fatigue or Google Meet fatigue. Please know we are completely recognizing what that looks like. And that's one of the best parts about having the professional teachers of Winding Creek. They're going to be looking for that, and they're going to be monitoring that. If they notice that the children and that she's been teaching for 20 or 30 minutes, and even though there's been some independent work along with face-to-face engagement or some reading, there's going to be a place in there where we're going to take a go noodle break or a brain break. And there's different things and different ways that we're asking our teachers to think about that, to engage our children with some physical movement, as in addition to the face learning. So as we go through and recognize needs, we're going to be coming together, collaborating not only as a grade level, but as a school, and figuring out how do we support our students with different situations as they arise. I had another person who asked about focus. Last week at a town hall meeting, our students who have identified for the need of gifted services, they did present their support last week in a town hall meeting by the county. So as it stands right now, of course, our students who have identified needs, whether it's students with disabilities or English language learners or students with 504s or identified students for focus services, we will be providing those services. And so therefore, according to the plan that was put out, it's a combination of a push-in, pull-out model. The pull-out model will be on their asynchronous days. So the days that they are not getting face-to-face instruction with the teacher is the day that they will be getting their 45 minutes with Ms. Fields, our focus teacher. And then on the synchronous days, it is going to be a push-in model where Ms. Fields will be pushing into those classrooms, working with the teacher and the students to provide the differentiation and support needed for those identified students. In addition to that, I need you to know that one of the things that we're extremely excited about is for the last couple of years, we've been doing a lot of work with performance tasks, and John Antonetti's work is about the rigor divide. And that has been completely integrated into our planning this year. We've been doing a lot of learning about it, but this year is the year we're just ripping the Band-Aid and we're moving right in. So we're having very deep conversations about the tasks we're asking our children to do. We're talking about differentiation beyond just the text level we're asking our students to read. We're also thinking about process, product, and content. So how can we take a normal task that we'd ask our children to do to check for learning and change that into a task that maybe has a couple of layers to it that require our children to think? I think you know that at Winding Creek, that has always been a huge mission for us. Our learner profile for the Winding Creek learner is for them to be a critical thinker, collaborator, communicator, creator with outstanding character and dynamic mindset. So we are still working towards that. And even with the new challenges, it is very exciting because we're getting to transform teaching and planning and lesson delivery. And the teachers have been working very hard this week to make that transformation because we know the challenges are in front of us. But one of the things that we always think about is what Winding Creek does. All of our efforts are always to do with excellence. So please know we've set the bar high for ourselves too. And all we're asking for you is, as we go on this journey, be patient with us as we learn and as we move forward in this new type of environment. Some of the questions that have been for 504 accommodations. Of course, 504 accommodations will be provided. There will be meetings. Anyone who has a 504, we will be having meetings with all of those parents by mid-September. An example I'm going to give you all is that if an accommodation on a 504 plan is proximity to the teacher, that one's not going to necessarily be one that we're going to have to worry about because all of the children will be in proximity to the teacher according to the Google Meet. She'll have definite eyes on. So we will go through, look at the accommodations on those 504 plans and address them in this virtual environment. Also, all students who are students with disabilities with an IEP, we will be having those meetings. Ms. Onidi is scheduling those now to go over our IEPs in this virtual environment. So please know we are looking at and addressing that. Some other people asked about supply lists. Our supply lists are on our website, and we did go back and revise them for virtual supplies at home. So if you have a third grade list, there's the typical supply list, and then to the side of it is supplies that would be helpful to use at home. In addition to that, we have got a really fun video coming out from Winding Creek, and it's called School Shopping. But the school shopping this time is not going to be like the school shopping when you get to go pick out all those fun notebooks and pencils and pens. And I just have to tell you, I love school shopping. So this isn't going to be typical of that. This is going to be school shopping at home for that place, that learning place that would be a great learning place for your child, but also keeps them in a close enough proximity that caregivers kind of have an eye on them. So please know that there's a fun video coming out. It'll be out by the 24th. Please sit down as a family and look at it so that your child starts to think actively, what does a learner look like at home? And they start thinking about, what does my body look like at home? How do I make sure I'm sitting up? Because one of the things we want to make sure is that that feeling of school is still that feeling of school, even if they're at home. sitting at a table, attending. Summer school was a great learning experience for us because we recognized that we needed to take time to truly teach what does at-home learning look like in those spaces. So we have taken time to make a video of that, and it's kind of a fun video to look at. So take an opportunity to look at those. They're all going to be on our website. And I'm trying to think, I'm going to go through these questions very quickly and see if there is anything else I missed. There's a lot of questions about Canvas, and please know that the Canvas is a learning management system. So Canvas will have other pieces to it, like Google Meet. We are able to actually upload text into it. We can make videos and upload videos into it. We could connect links in it. So there are many pieces to Canvas that children will have access to as they go through and do their learning. I think I've answered just about all the questions that came in. Please know that there is a letter coming home to you all with another effort. It'll be in a robo email. There is a letter coming home to you all trying to explain all of this to you all. It is very complicated and we completely understand. And I'm going to try to explain it to you more from the Winding Creek perspective instead of just the district perspective. So know that the biggest part about Winding Creek is that we are a family and we are a community, and we are all here together, and the teachers are beyond excited to make connections with their children, and we're beyond excited to be connected as a school. So hoping that you're finishing up and enjoying the last parts of your summer. Be ready to look for that device pickup next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday by the letter of your last name. And we will be moving on from there. So hope this has helped you a little bit. Wish you well, and thanks for tuning in. Talk to you soon.